going to ruffle feathers. And it's not really meant to ruffle feathers, but it seems like it's a topic that people are afraid to address. Okay? Your service people, your farrier, your massage therapist, your chiropractor, your vet, these are all people who come into your farm and interact with your horse. And they have like a general way of being around horses. They have a general knowledge of how to ask a horse to, lift its leg, or how to ask a horse to move its head this way or move its body this way. They have a general idea of how to make the average horse do those things. And they're pretty set on doing things that way. But my thing is my horses are all taught to do things a certain way by a certain cue or by pushing what I would call a certain button. And they have a full understanding of what that is requesting of them. Now, I had a conversation the other day with a farrier who was telling me that an owner had seen him go to pinch the tendon on the leg, on the front leg, to ask the horse to pick up the front leg. And the owner said, all you have to do is touch the chestnut. And the horse would just pick its leg up. And the response, or at least in his mind, to the owner is, as they continue to pinch the tendon, is, yeah, my way works just fine too. It's attached with an attitude. I wonder, what that is, because to me, if you have the ability to speak Spanish to a Spanish-speaking person instead of trying to point at things or describe things in physical gestures to try to get a point across to somebody that you have a language barrier with, wouldn't it be nice if you actually knew how to speak their language to where you can have a conversation? So for me, having somebody that comes into my barn, wants to get along with my horse, and yet says, I don't care what your language is, I actually have been told what your language is, but I'm going to do it my way and you're just going to understand. And to me, it's a little bit like, well, then you wonder why you don't have this immediate click with the horse, because you're asking him to do things with an assumption that he understands you, and then you're asking him kind of in a way that seems impatient, or impatient would be the word, like, come on horse, you know this, But if they really don't, which my horses don't know when you pinch their tendon, that's not something that they've been taught. That's not how they've been taught to pick up their leg. But you simply touch their chestnut, and my horse will pick up their leg in an instant. With exuberance, with, yes sir. And then this way you've proven to my horse that you understand him. You've proven to my horse that you speak his language, and you have a better shot, in my opinion, of having a good moment with my horse versus expecting my horse to understand something that he doesn't understand, but you're given the information. That's the part that bothers me. You're given the information and actually have almost like an attitude of defiance as to why you would do it differently. And I get it. There's kooky horse owners. There are. I'm not saying that, doing every little funny thing your horse owners ask you to do when you're just trying to get a job done. I mean, I get that. But really, would you rather bend down and pinch and push and tug on a horse that would easily just, to the touch of a chestnut, pick his foot up? Like, do you really want to, I have another horse that's a Clydesdale, and he's got, feathers, and it's like an insistence on pulling on his feathers. Or leaning on him. Like, if you just touch his chestnut, he'll pick his foot up. No, you'd rather tug on this and, I don't understand. And then if the horse isn't good, well, you're coming into his world speaking another language. You're speaking another language to him. And you're mad at him for not complying with what you're asking of him. He doesn't know what you want. That doesn't make sense to him on a obedience level. Now, if you ask him to do it the way he knows how to do it, with the cues that he knows how to do, well then, boom, you've got compliance. You've got not only compliance, but you've got happy compliance. And then you have the basis of having an actual conversation with this animal, who otherwise, doing it your way, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, again, I get it. There's kooky horse owners out there that, oh no, Rosie likes it if you put a treat at the end of her nose. I get that, but you're being given instructions out of an owner's manual. Hey, this is the button that makes the tailgate open. This is the button that makes the doors lock. I mean, it's simple. And why? I guess my confusion is, what is the reason to say, I'll do it my way, when you're there to do a service? You're hired by that person to do things for them, to take care of something for them. So truthfully, that should be more of your mentality is, oh, okay, this is how you want it done. Then let me do it the way my customer who hired me to be here wants it done. Let me take care of this the way my customer wants me to take care of this, instead of like, yeah, I got this kind of thing. I don't, like I said, I get it. There's kooky horse owners that have, weird, silly things they do with their horses and whatever. But you know what? It still might be their horse's language. It still might be what their horse understands, and their horse might still be more willing to do for you what you're looking for them to do if you did it in their language, But, so I guess my confusion is, it seems defiant, and that's kind of why, like, I know it's going to be something that people are going to be like, well, you don't understand, there are owners out there that think, you should stop and pet the horse every time it, turns and looks at you. I mean, I get it. Like, you can get caught up into situations with owners who say, oh, I do it this way, and, and as a trainer myself, I find myself sometimes when somebody says, oh, well, that's not how I do it. And you do find yourself saying, you wouldn't have called me if the way you do it works. Or let's put it this way, that was kind of not the right way to say it, is you wouldn't have called me if the way you do it makes sense to your horse. So let's find another definition. Let's find another word we can define more clearly for your horse. So next time we ask him to do it, he just goes, oh yeah, I know that one. So yes, I've run into the horse owners that, called you, they want you to do something for them because they're having problems, and in their midst of having problems, they're telling you, and in the midst of you reaching out and giving your horse something else to learn, they want to, stop you and say, well, that's not how I do it. Well, I get that. I get those situations, and I do think that a lot of farriers, which is the subject that I'm on, a lot of farriers do kind of have a background of somewhat training horses, and maybe in a way, they feel like that's kind of their job too, is to stand here and use their training techniques on your horse, but without the training session. That's the problem. Your farrier comes once every 6 weeks, once every 8 weeks, depending on whether or not your horse is shod or just trimmed. Your farrier is not a regular trainer in your horse's life, and nor should they think they are. So if they want their job to go easy, you would think that they would say, you know, is there anything I need to know? Like, I bet they'd appreciate it if you told them my horse normally kicks. Or they appreciate it if you told them my horse bites. But for whatever reason, that information's welcome, but my horse picks up his hoof by just touching his chestnut. That information seems to be, like, dismissed. And they'd rather struggle or confuse the horse and start off on the wrong foot right off the bat, you know? So, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a weird thing. So, I don't know. Hope I don't just piss anybody off, but that's my thoughts for the day.